Hello everybody, thanks for tuning in. I'm out and about while I'm filming this vlog, and I guess that's significant because one of the things I wanted to talk about is the new induction for what some people call new Ardashians, people who are joining our organisation. Perhaps they're rejoining our organisation. That's right, from the end of November there is a very different process for supporting people to join our trust. It's different in where it is. It'll be at community venues like the place behind me in Bentley. It's different in how long it takes. It'll be over a 5-day period, but it's also different in what we're trying to achieve, because there's a local induction there in the middle of that 5-day period. There's some time for mandatory training, but what we're really trying to achieve is to induct people into our communities and induct people into our organisation, our values, our professions, our disciplines, and of course our promises. So yes, we want people to be job ready, but we also want to prepare people for joining our teams, our directorates, our care groups, our corporate directorates as well. So a very different mindset about the induction. Of course, a year or so in, we will test whether it has been effective in preparing people for a career within our organisation, and a real appreciation of what increasingly our organisation is about. So if you find yourself working alongside someone who's had that new induction, do ask them about it. We're having a think for the new year about how we might replicate that more extensive induction for people who might have joined this organisation over the last few years and would like to have that opportunity to hear about some of those things. And of course, innovations like our learning half days maybe offer time to execute on that opportunity. Been thinking a lot about the changes we're making in the organisation and the community embeddedness and immersion that is so important to our promises. Many of us were in a room in Rotherham at Magna on Wednesday to listen to Bola Owolabi talk with academic precision and human compassion to the necessity to tackle inequalities in our country. That as an economic engine of change, but also a health engine of change. You can't have that thriving economy without better health. At the same time, we need that thriving economy to support the kind of investments that an ageing population will require. I thought Bola did an outstanding job of making the case, and making the case for an intervention like annual health checks for people with serious mental illness, recognising the importance of that, but also the way in which historically SMI health checks have happened disproportionately for people who don't experience significant societal disadvantage in deprived communities, or perhaps from black and minority ethnic groups. So it's really important as we go forward towards our Promise 7 and our Promise 8, with a 95% commitment to annual health checks in the future, that we take account of those patterns of exclusion. I guess that's part of the reason for a 95% test rather than the national 60% test, because you pretty much can't get to 95%, as Becca Sanderson points out to me, unless you tackle those points of exclusion. Fantastic to have a national director from NHSE recognise the work we're doing here at Ardash, but I'm thinking right now of Jane Ashby and the work that our school nurses do in Doncaster, where I'm stood today, in our schools. New school year, new kids, new teachers, new relationships. Our Glasses for Classes programme really sums up that commitment for me to trying to do just that extra thing to try to reduce patterns of disadvantage. What it means for a kid living down the way here in Bentley perhaps is that they've got prescribed glasses, but then they've got a second pair of prescribed glasses that are held in their school that are definitely available to them to enable them to learn and participate in their class. You might think that's nothing to do with Ardash, you might think that's not our job. Well, I think it is, and more importantly, our school nurses and local school teachers think it is. So it's us leaning in, maybe doing something just a little bit different in order to try and make that difference for that young person. And that theme of a little bit different then plays through to the experience I had this week that I wanted to share with you. I walked into a room and I was surrounded by literally dozens of quality improvement project posters produced by staff of every professional discipline across our organisation. I saw a poster on our costings programme out of finance, a poster about older people's services in North Lincolnshire, a poster about psychological interventions in our Doncaster mental health service. There were dozens, so I'm not going to repeat them all. Absolutely bowled over by the scale of innovation and the appetite for change that exists in our organisation. And building on that idea of great QI posters, I just wanted to confirm that this time next year, when we have our third Leaders Conference, we will have our first R-wide QI poster contest. There will be prizes. That's not why you do it, but there will be prizes. And with a top prize of £5,000, I think it's worth you having a think, even reflecting on this video, about the kind of QI projects you can get involved in where you work and the kind of posters you might be able to display this time next year. Thanks ever so much for listening. Have a good weekend, and let's hope the weather doesn't break for winter too soon. Cheers.
Give the NHS a break. Get vaccinated.